Much like on the women's side, we have two teams just excited to be playing basketball. Some things to look for from you in this one.
Sure, I think for the visitors first, for Chadron, obviously they come into this matchup similar to what we saw with the women's team, shooting a lot of threes. In 4 games, they shot 98 threes. So obviously almost averaging 25 attempts a game, which is the way the basketball game is going, but they specifically live on that, shooting just under 37%. So they're going to cast. They're going to go a lot of 5 out or 4 out around 1. So for them, they need to be able to execute and make extra passes. I noticed on a little bit of film I watched on them, when they move the ball well, they've got really good flow and they get open shots. So again, kind of that outside shooting reliance for Chadron. For Westminster, Westminster needs to stay consistent with 2 things, their effort and their rebounding. In my opinion, those go hand in hand, but I really feel like Westminster, when they rebound and their guards rebound down, we talked about that with Coach Parrish early in the season, when their guards rebound down, they have a great chance to win. They're not a huge team, but they have guards that are athletic, and so their effort plays that equate into rebounding, I think, is key. If they can out-rebound Chadron, they give themselves a huge advantage and an opportunity to win here.
All right, here's the starting 5 both ways. Marcus Jefferson will start at a guard for the Eagles. Also Teddy Farham Jr. at another guard. Saul Medicor at a guard as well, senior from Carson, California. Jacob Jefferson at a forward spot along with Caden Sund. Jefferson, their top scorer, 14 points a game. He's also their top rebounder at 6.8. And Farham Jr., their second best scorer, 13.5 points a game. Both knock it down 39% or better from 3. For the Griffins, Matt Kissman, Isaiah Banks, Remy Torbert, Braden Johnson, and Joey Andrews. The starting 5 for the Griffins, Westminster in white, black, I'll make that Chadron State in the black uniforms. We are underway from Banking. Great to have you with us on this Saturday night. In the lane, Banks tries to go outside, tipped into the hands of Kissman. Shot clock down at 8. Kissman lost it and taken away by Jefferson for the Eagles.
So a little bit of a lineup change here. Obviously Johnson getting the start. Brandon Willardson nursing an ankle sprain, pretty bad ankle sprain that happened during the CSU Pueblo game. Will play today, but Johnson getting the start. Also Kissman in the starting lineup with his second start of the season.
Kissman comes in averaging 5 points a game. The top 2 scorers for the Griffins are Joey Andrews, averaging almost 13 points a game, and Isaiah Banks averaging 12 on the season.
So right on cue, Parham starts the scoring for both squads with the 3. Good drive and kick, and that's what they want to do.
Outside trying to answer, and doing so is Joey Andrews, 6'5", junior from Bluffdale, Utah, transferring from Big Bend Community College in the Pacific Northwest. And Andrews, I talked about the scoring also, 9.4 rebounds a game in the first 5 contests for Andrews.
Another 3 goals, this time from the big fella. Jacob Jefferson out of Buckeye, Arizona, hits the 3. So 3 threes offensively to start this game. 2 for Chadron and 1 for Westminster.
Westminster 29% from 3 range this year. Chadron State at 36.7. So certainly the 3 ball more of a strength for the Eagles in terms of numbers and what we might expect coming into tonight. Lean back jumper won't go for Torbert. Rebound goes to Sund for the Eagles. 6-3 our score. Eagles trying to increase an early 3-point lead. 2 minutes in from Banking Fieldhouse. Outside, 3 ball. Good ball movement. Won't go for Cepeda. Or make that Jefferson, excuse me.
Both of these teams going with a 4 guard, 1 post look. Playing a little bit smaller as that 3 goes.
Torbert from downtown gets the 3. So Torbert now 1 for 2 tonight. We are tied at 6-6. 2.5 minutes in. Farm after the handoff. Now gets it back from Medicor. Made a curve, right, make that left side, back up top to Jefferson, shot clock at 5. Pull-up jumper beyond the arc. Won't go, high bounce on the miss. And that'll be Griffins' ball out of bounds. Westminster coming in, plus 3.8 in rebounding. Pretty much even in rebounding for Chadron State. Come into this one. Another 3-ball down.
Andrews starting it off hot, hitting the second 3-pointer of the game. That's all we've had scoring-wise so far in this contest.
So Andrews with 6 points. Chadron State has the advantage. Outside for the Griffins, Andrews. Curling around a screen is Banks. Back outside to Torbert. Three ball in the way, won't go for Torbert. And a whistle underneath. Out of bounds. It'll be Chadron State basketball. Into the game for the Eagles. Marlon Dahl, a freshman guard from Iceland, transferring from Wesley Christensen High School in the state of Kentucky. Four minutes into this first half. 1-point lead for the Griffins.
You know, the RMAC, we've talked about this, Mike, before, but the RMAC is a very good conference for junior college transfers. All the teams have at least one, but most of them have multiple. And at the Division II level, you rely on those junior college transfers to fill your roster. And there's some good players that come from the JUCO level. As a steal and finish there with the flush.
My goodness. DeAndre Rogerson. New addition for this team and made an impressive dunk in transition. We've got a timeout with 15:27 left in our first half from Benkin. Our score, Chadron State 10, Griffins 9 on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network.
Wait, so he's... Okay, gotcha.
Number 20 is Rogerson. He wasn't on the roster I saw online. He must be one of those mid-semester transfers. Not sure where he's from.
He just added, so it's Rogerson?
Rogerson,
okay.
Yep.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah, no kidding.
Steal and flush, all right, cool.
Yeah, you're right. JUCOs and some D1 transfers are big in this conference.
Yeah.
And taken away by Chadron State. Under 13 minutes to play in this first half from Bankin. After a pretty good start, the offenses have cooled off as we approach the midway point of this first half. Kick outside, MBA, distance 3. It's down for Teddy Farham Jr. Farham, a transfer from Santa Monica College, native of Los Angeles. Second best scorer for Chadron State at 13.5 points a game. Comes in shooting better from 3 than the field overall. He's 37% from the field, 39% from downtown in transition. And the flip up won't go by Madeker. But the foul on Joey Andrews as he got back in transition and did not want to give up the easy buckets. So Saul Madeker at the free throw line. Transfer from MSU Billings.
So we talked about those transfers, Mike, and Division I transfers, JUCO transfers, but we're also seeing a little bit more Division II to Division II, especially we've seen tonight. Both schools having a couple of transfers with on the women's team. Rich coming from Black Hills State. MSU Billings, a Division II school up in Montana, obviously, in another conference. But you'll see that more and more these days as they're allowing more transfers, and that portal is way more active. Well, first of all, it was invented, and now it's even more active than it ever has been.
And there is a reason why it was invented. That's what I'm trying to say there.
Yep.
There was a need for it.
It was needed. Good pull up there off the on-ball pick by Taylor Miller. Early starter in the season. Coach Parrish wants him to be more consistent with his decision-making. Good athlete, good pull up there. Can be a vital asset for the Griffins.
Chadron State in front here with under 12 minutes to play. In the first half, corner jumper won't go for Caden Sund. Up ahead as they go to Andrews. He'll knife his way inside and scores it. Taylor Andrews brings the Griffins to within 1 at 14-13. Andrews with 6 points. Leads the Griffins in scoring in this first half.
Andrews proven himself to be a necessary part of this Griffins offense. When he's aggressive and he is mixing up his shots, the Griffins are much better.
Long jumper won't go for Madeker. Griffins down the floor, no numbers, but a nice feed. How about that cut to the rim? Joey Andrews taking the feed from Branson Blackner.
Great job. Sorry, Mike. Great job by the Griffins pushing the floor. That's 3 possessions in a row that Miller has pushed that ball up the floor.
The Griffins had the lead, 15-14. Wide left is Brian Jefferson. Shot clock at 5. On the drive in, Madeker. Pivots with 2 seconds. Bound pass outside. Long jumper. Will wave it off a travel. Wasn't sure if the official caught that as
we both kind of stopped wait, is he going to call it? But he called it late. I think he was also looking at the shot clock, whether it was the violation first or the travel first. So nonetheless, great defensive stop right there for the Griffins.
10:35 left in the first half from Bankin. The Griffins are on top, 15-14 on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network.
You see the one on they were on the front court here, and he threw it all the way here. You see how bad that trouble was down here? I was like,
how did that call that? Top of Chadron State, 15-14 with 10:35 left in our first half. Westminster shooting 6 for 12 to start this one, 4 of 6 from downtown with a couple of made threes already from Joey Andrews. And for Chadron State, They come out 41% to start the game, knocking down 3 of 10 threes. Andrews already 10 points in the game for the Griffins. And for Chadron State, Farm, their top scorer with 6 points, 5 for Jefferson. The Griffins out of the timeouts. Ball knocked around inside. They'll set up the offense. The shot clock here at 18 seconds. And quick shot from the corner by Taylor Miller. A Snow College transfer. Off the mark. And down low, score it for Jacob Jefferson.
So that's a little bit about the decision making we talked about with Taylor Miller. He's a great athlete and he plays hard. Sometimes his up-tempo tendencies get him in a little bit of trouble, and he got it there as Coach Parrish not super thrilled with that shot.
Hey, scoreboard correction there was at 15-15 before that last bucket was scored by Jacob Jefferson. Now the Griffins come back with a 3-ball to make it 18-17. So Kitzman with the 3. And a bucket the other way for Chadron State.
Nice tough finish there off the run. Off the 1-foot runner there from Rogerson.
So DeAndre Rogerson. Had his team in front for just a moment, but the Griffins come the other way. I want to correct the name. It's DeAndre Robertson, not Rogerson. So I was given the wrong name before tip-off here. So we'll get that corrected.
Our bad. Free throw good for Johnson. 3-point play the old-fashioned way. Sorry, DeAndre, and family and friends, if you're watching, our apologies there, but.
So 9:21 left in this first half. Westminster led by Andrews with 10 points so far. 7 for Jefferson paces the effort for Chadron State.
Rick Schmidt into the game for the Griffins already. Both benches getting action here. A little deeper than Coach Parrish has gone this early, but nonetheless, with injuries and some of the things going on, you gotta have bodies. Turnover there by the Griffins.
Could not connect with Blackner.
So they recorrected the score, so it is 19. 21-19.
Okay. Everyone getting back into the rhythm here.
Yep.
After the holiday break and a couple cancellations. And now tied at 21. Down low for the Griffins. Johnson. Boy, nice little floater there with the right hand from 5 feet away. Makes it 23-21 Griffins.
Yeah, good defense, better offense there. As Johnson worked hard for that baby hook after a couple of moves.
8:15 left in the first half. I'm watching Taylor Miller back here behind the bench, Lance. I'm not sure if he twisted an ankle, but trying to get loose. Down the floor, Kitzman for the Griffins. Flips it to Banks. Johnson down to Schmidt. Left side corner, jumper on the way. 3-ball is down for Braden Johnson.
Good find by Rick Schmidt. Got it in the post. Was patient, looked over his shoulder. Saw a really good 3-point shooter in the corner. Made a good decision there.
Well, Johnson 0 for 3 on threes before that one went down, but certainly a player who has that potential.
Again, the Griffins making the Eagles work that shot clock. This couple times is a hand check foul there. It's always the threat when a big has to close out like that on a guard.
So a 5-point lead here for the Griffins at 26-21. 7:21 left in the first half from Bankin on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network. Our audio was on during a commercial break. 26-21 with 7:21 left to go in this first half. Mike Lagerschultz and Lance Barton with you. Lance, your impressions so far on this first half of play?
You know, we've had a couple of different games in this first half. You had the opening couple minutes where you had some threes go, you had good offense, and then the tempo picked up by both teams and there were some turnovers, got a little helter-skelter, and now it's settled back into a better rhythm. Both teams playing fairly well, getting decent shots, and so overall pretty decent half. Robertson with the miss there, looked like he maybe got hit, but he's had been a nice addition early in this game. And both benches seeing some action in this first half.
Rebounds even at 7 apiece. Chadron State shooting 47% overall, 3 of 12 from 3. The Griffins at 58% from the field. They've shot 10 for 17 to start this game. They are 5 of 8 from three-point range. Trying to get one more three to go there with Rick Schmidt. Would not go. Rebound tracked down by Braden Johnson. Hesitation. Banks now drives, kicks it right side to Blackner. Blackner, that three ball well at the mark. Good effort in the save there by Johnson. Here comes Chadron State the other way, down by 5. Good defense there by Johnson. Long three try, right side by Farham, and here come the Griffins. That pass just sails behind. Johnson out of bounds. That'll be turnover number 5 against the Griffins. Remy Torber back on for the Griffins. So he'll be armed with Rick Schmidt, Matt Kitzman, Branson Blackner, and Brandon Willardson.
Both teams going to their first kind of big lineup here, with 2 true bigs in the game.
Around the screen. Boy, great screen set there by Jacob Jefferson. You talk about the big guys on the floor. Freed his man up nicely there for that three to the top of the key.
Yeah, and unfortunately Blackner got caught a step and a half away and wasn't on the hip. When you're defending that play and you're the guard coming off the screen, you've got to be on that guard's hip to get around the screen. So good job and good set there for the Eagles.
So Teddy Farham Jr. with that made three brings his team within 2 at 26-24, a chance to tie or take the lead here for the Eagles with 5:17 left in the first half. Kicking right side. Long jumper from the corner won't go by Robertson. Falling back and short on the baseline was Kitzman.
Yeah, good play set up there. The back door, good pass by Rick Schmidt. Fortunately, Kitzman looked like a trip maybe over his own feet, trying to get that reverse layup to go.
A little traffic to navigate through there on the baseline. Long three won't go by Farham.
I'm noticing that the Griffins at times are going under those ball screens on the wing. Probably have scouted that out for the better shooter, or the shooters that aren't shooting quite the percentage going under. So we'll see if they continue to do that, because it's given the Eagles some open looks. I'm not sure Coach Parrish is loving those open threes. So we'll see if they make that adjustment or not.
Yeah, Chadron State has not made him pay heavily so far. Just 4 of 16 from three-point range. Farham missed that last three. He is now 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Has 9 points tonight. Also 9 points so far for Jefferson. Traveling violation on Chadron State, and that will give it to Westminster. That's turnover number 3 on the Eagles.
Yeah, only 5 turnovers combined so far in this half. So both teams not doing a fairly decent job of taking care of the ball. You know, I always look at rush shots or end of the shot clock shots as almost turnovers, right? Just as good. So haven't seen a lot of that either. So right now, just a little bit of a cold spell for both of these teams. Shooting outside.
Yeah, Westminster has not scored in over 4 minutes. Been a 3-minute drought for Chadron State. Shot clock at 5. Long jumper by Kitzman. Rebound goes to Chadron State. Chadron State the largest lead of 5 points in this first half. 5 lead changes 4 ties in this first half of play. Shot clock down to 8. Farham now kicks it outside, and the big fella Jefferson won't get to go. Kitzman lets that one go out of bounds, and a timeout. 3:02 left first half from Bankin Fieldhouse in Salt Lake City. The City. Hope you had a great holidays. Mike Lagashow, Lance Barton back with you. And Lance, both teams shooting pretty well for a long stretch, but as of the last 3 minutes or so, not much offense. What's going on here?
Yeah, I think that what's happened is both teams have gotten out of rhythm. Chadron is really good when they drive and kick and shoot, and we've had more kind of individual pull-up stuff, and now Westminster has kind of settled in to shooting the outside shot more, not getting to the basket. They did that early. And as we mentioned in the break, shooting threes is contagious. Good, bad, or indifferent. We've seen it change the game on three-point shots, but when you're a team that needs to go inside out, as the jump hook missed by Johnson, sometimes teams will settle because the other team is shooting. We want to shoot too.
So 26-24, our score. Griffins on top by 2. Pass into the lane to Jefferson. And he'll tie it at 26. Kitzman down the floor in a hurry for Westminster. Flips to Blackner. Blackner cut off by Jefferson. Torbert now curls around the top. Finds a wide open. Braden Johnson hits him on the hands, and Johnson finishes.
Norm really wanted a bump there. I think that was a pretty good let go by the official. I think he gets that if he misses. But a good interior pass. The Griffins need to do that more often. They haven't been hitting that rolling big.
Kick out for a 3. Rims out for Jefferson. How about this, Lance? 18 of the 24 field goal attempts by Chadron State from beyond the arc in this first half. The Griffins, 11 of their 25 field goal tries from three-point range. So that's 28 combined. Made that 29 combined three-point attempts in our first half.
And I think for Chadron, that's what they do, right? We talked about it. 98 threes attempted in their first 4 games. So you're going to see that from them. Westminster maybe a few more than they're used to. They got away from that inside game. So they run that triangle or version of triangle early. They got a couple looks. Joey Andrews got some kickouts from it. So we'll see if that trend and that ratio continues, but I bet Westminster slows it down a little bit and continues to work that inside game.
Here's my question for Chadron State. If you're only 29% from 3, I maybe wouldn't shoot quite as often from there.
You know, what's interesting about it is they've had a couple looks where I felt like they were driving and they could have either pulled up or gone through contact, but they still kicked out. So I think their mentality is drive, draw, and kick, which is fine. But like you said, if you're not hitting, get to the basket, get some free throws, get it into the big fella inside. And right there, again, another forced 3, this time an air ball, as the Griffins come back the other way.
.110 left in this first half. 3 ball down. Remy Torbert rings the bell from downtown. Yeah, if I'm 40% from 3, I'm all about shooting them. But when you're 35%, 36% or less, unless the numbers what the staff has seen bear out shooting threes and staying with it, that's a different deal. But I would maybe change my approach. Nice foot down there. As Robertson gets it to go on the reverse layup.
Robertson making his presence felt as Norm wants a timeout towards the end of this half. Draw up a play here.
So 32.2 seconds left. 5-point lead for the Griffins, who have been led in scoring tonight by Andrews with 10 points. 7 for Johnson, 6 for Torbert, and for Chadron State, Jefferson with 11 points, 9 for Farm Jr. So for the Griffins, they come to this game 3-2. They've had better luck than the women's team for Westminster, getting already their 6th game in tonight.
+2 exhibitions, so I would say, all in all, I bet they probably have played more games than most in the RMAC. Obviously having a break over the last several weeks with the holiday season and then losing 2 due to COVID cancellations or postponements. So,
yeah, that series with New Mexico Highlands and UC Colorado Springs was scheduled for January 1st and 2nd. They were moved to January 4th and 5th to give everyone some more time to get back, but then the games were canceled against Highlands and UCCS here on Monday and Tuesday. In fact, the Highlands game was canceled well in advance. Even before Christmas, we knew that was not going to happen. Inside, nice look to Isaiah Banks. Kitzman the assist, 35-28, final seconds of our first half.
You know, Mike, we'll talk about Isaiah Banks and his impact, but they need more of that from him.
Floater won't go. Rebound taken by Andrews. He'll get past half court, eyes it up, had a good look at the rim. Wouldn't go, but a good end to the first half by the Griffins. We were tied at 26, Lance. The Griffins outscore the Eagles 9-2 to close out the first half. They lead by 7 here at halftime, 35-28.
You know, I asked you a question in the last media, not this timeout here that Coach Parrish called, but the under 4 media. I said, is it just me or does this game feel like these teams are shooting in the 20s percentage-wise? And you said, yeah, but they're both still in the 40s. Obviously, Chadron just a touch above the 40s at 40.7, but I think maybe that stretch of basketball that got a little bit fast, a little bit disjointed, made it seem like the game is worse than it is. If you're Westminster, you're happy with the 7-point lead. You're happy with the way things have gone. Obviously, Chadron just went on a cold spell. Went 4 or 5 minutes without hitting any shots, and that's really the difference right now.
You made a good point as well. As the Griffins saw Chadron jacking up threes, they kind of fell into that same mode of lots of threes going up. That's not their game plan tonight.
No, and then, you know, we saw it. I think Norm drew up, I'm just guessing, but knowing him very well, I think he drew up that first back door to Blackner. Yeah, it was a turnover, but then they went 5 possessions in a row where they were running those backdoor plays, where they were going to the corner offensive set, dribble at him, go backdoor, because they really wanted to emphasize getting the ball in and trying to get inside. We saw a couple post entries to Johnson. So Westminster slowed down their tempo and went back to their inside-out looks, where Chadron just continued to go their 4 out and move the ball and shoot threes. So, you know, Chadron hits 1 or 2 of those, they get the momentum back. It can be a different kind of ball game, but Westminster happy with the 7-point lead at halftime.
Westminster outshoots Chadron State 48-40% in the first half. The Griffins go 13 for 27 overall, 6 of 12 from 3, 3 of 3 at the line, and Chadron State going 11 for 27 from the floor, 4 of 19 from 3. So again, 19 of their 27 field goal tries from beyond the arc in the first half. Chadron State 2 of 2 at the line. The Griffins outboard the Eagles 16-13. Not many turnovers, 5 by the Griffins, 3 by Chadron State in the first half.
Yeah, and Westminster 10 assists to just 6 for Chadron State. So Westminster with 13 field goal makes and 10 assists on that. So very indicative of the different types of offenses that they were running, as Chadron ended up settling for a lot of kind of one-on-one late shot clock pull-up threes. So I'm sure the coach will make that adjustment and look at some of the numbers, Coach Pabin and his staff. So I'm interested to see what these teams do. I think if Westminster stays the course and continues to go to that inside out, slow the tempo down a little bit, I think they can, found a little bit of a rhythm there. For Chadron, I thought they were better pushing the floor, right? I think that first 4 minutes they pushed the floor and pushed the tempo, and that was a difference maker.
Individual numbers in the first half. Joey Andrews leads the Griffins with 10 points. He did not miss a field goal, going 4 of 4 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3, 7 points for Braden Johnson. Also 3 assists for him, and Torbert with 6 points to go with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. And for Chadron State, their top scorer was Jefferson, Jacob Jefferson, with 11 points and a couple rebounds in that first half. Also Farham, their best percentage shooter, going 3 of 7 from three-point range in the first half for 9 points. Also 6 points from Roberson off the bench. Our score at halftime, Westminster on top of Chadron State, 35-28. Back in about 10 minutes with the second half on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network. Ready for the start of the second half. Griffins are on top of Chadron State, 35-28. Mike Lagersholt and Lance Barton with you from Beacon Fieldhouse. And this Saturday, the Griffin women already a decisive win in the book as they took down the Eagles in our opener. And Lance, some good offense, shooting-wise early, a little bit of a scoring lull as we headed toward the latter third of this first half of play. Keys for our second half in this one.
You know, for the visitors, they need to ratchet up their defensive intensity. They really made Westminster work a lot harder for open looks by pressuring that dribble handoff and getting out and deny. So I think defensively their effort, if they go back to that full pressure denial, I think that will really help them. For Westminster, I think they need to continue to do exactly what they just did now. Push the ball. Push the ball, and when you can't get it, make sure you get an interior touch off the dribble or a pass, and then go inside out.
Chadron State just 3 turnovers in the first half. They had a turnover there quickly that gave up a transition bucket to the Griffins, who now lead 37-28. So Andrews with the layup, Banks the assist. Shot clock down to 6. Jefferson now kicks it outside in the lane. Turnaround jumper won't go down for Maedeker. Maedeker with just 2 points in that first half. Both points come at the line. He was 0 for 3 from the field. Top scorers in the first half. Jefferson with 11 points led the way for Chadron State. Andrews with 12 for the Griffins. Fouls on Caden Sund of Chadron State.
First team foul of the second half. At the line, shooting 2 is Joey Andrews.
Joey Andrews now at the line for the Griffins. Andrews, 41% at the line this season, 5 of 12 coming into tonight. First one goes. Averaging 12.8 points, and I'm still shaking my head, Lance. 9.4 rebounds per game through the first 5.
Yep.
For a guy who's not big in stature but just has a nose for the ball.
Hits both free throws, but Joey plays bigger than he is. It's kind of that hybrid small forward that end up playing power forward sometimes, but he does a great job of rebounding down as usually the one big, you know, Johnson, Willardson, Howell, those guys are blocking out. He's able to come in and get a lot of secondary rebounds.
That one well short. Chadron State scoreless the first 90 seconds of the second half. Our game was tied at 26. Late first half as Kitzman hits the deck. The Griffins a strong close to the first half as they outscored Chadron State 9-2 to lead 35-28 at halftime. They've accounted for all the points so far in this second half. Banks slips away from his defender, floats it up. Nice job to get that shot away at the angle right. Griffins are on top now, 41-28. Chadron State in desperate need of a bucket. Corner 3 ball on the way. That one spins out. A great effort by Andrews to save that. Andrews gets it back from Kitzman up ahead. How about that feed down the lane? Johnson to finish, but give an assist and a half to Andrews. Had the save on the baseline, the bullet pass to Brian Johnson. And a timeout called by Chadron State with 17-13 left to go in this second half. We'll step aside as well. Griffins are on top, 43-28 on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network.
They stretched it to a media again.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
This one from Bankin Fieldhouse in Salt Lake City. The Griffins in command, 45-30 on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network. Fieldhouse for live basketball.
Yeah, great weekend of sports. If I sound a little more dejected, it's because my Seahawks lost. But honestly, they did not play very well, and LA did what they had to do.
That one blocked as Miller drove in for the Griffins. I wasn't going to bring up the Seahawks score. I thought I'd leave that alone.
I've had enough tears. You've seen me cry enough in front of you.
I want you to focus on our effort here. We've still got about 16 minutes left in this game, but yeah, great with expanded playoffs.
Yeah, the
3
Bills,
wild card games.
The Bills got their first playoff win in 25 years. Yep. Good stuff. National championships, like you said. So, but most important right now is Westminster Griffins basketball playing at home.
Up by 15, 45-30. Nice look down low as they went to Isaiah Banks, the junior from Las Vegas and Casper Community College.
And we talked about this early on, Mike. Isaiah Banks is a lengthy, athletic guard, one that Westminster hasn't seen a ton on their roster of his likes, but they need to get him the ball inside and give him opportunities more often to be able to drive or get those post-ups because he's long and he can score over his defenders fairly easy from that guard position.
Another miss on a 3 from Chadron State. The Griffins try a long ball, it won't go. And here come the Eagles. Down by 17 with under 15 minutes to play.
So one of the things that the Griffins have struggled with last year and a little bit this year at home in their first home weekend is keeping the foot on the gas when they have the lead. We saw a couple leads slip away in 2 consecutive home games. So let's see if the Griffins stay aggressive throughout the rest of the second half.
Shot clock down to 2. The hook shot for Bryant Jefferson won't go. A shot clock violation. Back into the game. Branson Blackner for the Griffins and back for Chadron State. Teddy Parham Jr. (47-30). Griffins on top of the Eagles. 3 ball left side on the rim. And the miss by Blackner. Three ball try left side. And they get one to go. Jacob Jefferson out of Buckeye, Arizona. And Buckeye Union High School. Makes it 47-33. Jefferson, 11 points. Now make it 14 on the made 3. And Blackner comes back for the Griffins. Blackner now with 6 points in the game. Griffins, transition opportunity. And there to clean up the miss of Banks was Remy Torbert.
Yeah, good effort by both of them, running the break. And Torbert getting up there for the offensive rebound putback.
Griffins now up by 19. This would be a nice win for them here at home. They lost to the same team on the road as that one won't go down for Jefferson. The Griffins lost the first meeting 66-60 Back on December 11th, that was their first road game of the season. Andrews with 13 points that night. Jared Jordan, who's not playing tonight, had 13.
A couple of subs into the game for both teams as we see some tired bodies. I think Chadron should be used to playing in elevation, but you haven't played as many games in that elevation. Coming from Nebraska out to Rocky Mountains, it's starting to add up a little bit.
Under 13 left. Griffins up 19. Jumper won't go from Braden Johnson. Down the left alley, scoop it up and score it. Andre Cepeda.
Yeah, good drive and patience there by Cepeda. He
left side, pull up baseline jumper by Torbert won't go. And Cepeda the rebound. Time for the Eagles to make a push. They sense that as well with 12:06 left. Around the corner, Parham, nice find down low to Jefferson.
Yeah, good find there. Coming off of that curl screen. It's a good set there for the Eagles.
Chadron State still just 4 of 13 from the floor in this second half. They've gone 1 of 5 from 3. Good gather and score by Braden Johnson.
Isaiah Banks says, I'll see your interior good pass and match you, as he drove off of that down screen. Was able to get that back to Johnson on the roll.
16 assists on 22 buckets tonight for Westminster. And the impressive thing is, Lance, it's been so many guys in the act with the assists.
Yeah, the Griffins having a good mix of scores as Ramy almost gets the N1 as he drives hard with the right hand. We'll have a under 12 media here, but we talked about it at halftime. Griffins need to continue to get that ball inside off the bounce or off the pass, and they've done that.
11:13 left, second half from Beacon Fieldhouse. The Griffins are on top of Chadron State. 54-37 on Griffins TV and the RBAC Network. (54-37) with 11:13 left. The Griffins in the second half shooting 8 for 16 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. And Chadron State 4 for 13 from the field. They've gotten a couple to go in the last few minutes after some long droughts in this second half of play. In fact, the Griffins scored the first 8 points out of the halftime locker room to break this game open. 43-28 at the line now for the Griffins. Remy Torbert, junior from Southfield, Michigan, and Northwest College. One more coming for him.
You know, one thing that I've noticed too is Chadron has turned the ball over quite a bit this first 8 minutes and change, as they've had 4 turnovers in this half when they only had 3 the entire first. So ball security key, and the Griffins have taken advantage of it.
Nearing the 11-minute mark of this second half.
Chadron looking to go back inside into Jefferson if they can.
Good defense there by Banks. And a drive in by Madeker.
Even that little push there is a great illegal screen call. That was right. Miller got caught a little bit trying to roll too fast, didn't get his feet set, so good call by the official there. Sometimes these guards, when they're not used to setting screens, you know, Mike, like I did my whole career, setting a screen is an art. Just telling everyone, tell your kids, if you can learn to set screens and rebound, you can play college basketball. Anyways, the Griffins have done a great job of mixing up pushing the ball, like that one we just saw before the illegal screen. They pushed the ball to the corner. Blackter didn't have anything. They moved it out. They gave themselves a chance to run tempo. I think they need to continue to do that.
Knocked out of bounds, and will stay with Chadron State. You know, Lance, I went back to look at the box score of the first matchup in this series when the Griffins lost by 6. That night, Chadron State made 11 of 28 threes. I kept wondering why they insist on shooting that with their percentage tonight. I think that's probably why, as they had success the first time around. It was a balanced effort, and they maybe have kind of taken the approach of we just keep shooting. At some point, they're bound to fall, but that just has not been the case tonight for them.
Sure, and you know, that was a solid possession for them down to the end of the shot clock, and they were able to get the bucket. But they need to be, I think, a little bit more consistent on what they want to do and how they get their threes. When they settled in that first half for just kind of ISO pull-ups, they didn't have the success. Early on is Miller with a nice move there.
How about that fake pass to the corner, a scintillating look from Taylor, and then the finish.
You know, we saw the first 3 of their first 4 possessions. Chadron State drive, draw, and kick, and they went 3 of the first 4. As that 3 finally falls, as Parham just throws his hands up there like finally one goes. He's frustrated because he hasn't hit some open ones, and you don't want him, if you're a Griffins fan, you don't want him to get hot.
Well, as it is, 12 points for him. He's 4 of 8 from 3. His numbers have been good. It's been his teammates who haven't been as good as they were the first time around. Again, Chadron State 11 of 28 on threes in the first matchup against Westminster. Tonight, just 6 for 25. 4 of those 6 makes by Parham. 57-42. Still some time here for Chadron State with 8:45 to play.
Yeah, Parham had 11 made threes going into this game. He's adding to his already team-leading total.
Corner 3 ball won't go for Maidaker.
Good rebound by Braden Johnson there with the box out. Felt like Bill Walton right there. Good box out by the big fella. No substance afterwards.
And Walton would have been on other topics.
Yeah, well, he would immediately move to freshly squeezed orange juice at its prime, and when you're supposed to drink something crazy.
8:05 left in this one. Really nice job in the lane there by Isaiah Banks. Got that one away quickly from 10 feet away.
Yeah, we've seen that 3 times from him now where he's got an inside bucket. I think that's really big for this Westminster team to get the guards like Isaiah and Miller with their length inside on that triangle offense.
Baseline drive and the finish down low by Marcus Jefferson.
Yeah, good finish.
Jefferson, his first bucket tonight. Started out 0 for 5 in this one. 3 ball. That one short by Johnson, but an no board gives the Griffins another chance here with 7:15 left. Out of bounds, stays with Westminster. Matt Kissman back on for them. And DeAndre Roberson back on for Chadron State. Timeout on the floor. 7:14 left from Benkin. Westminster on top of Chadron State by 13 on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network. Coach, great to have you with us for this RMAC doubleheader tonight from Salt Lake City. The Griffin women, in just their third game of the year, got the win in our opener, 84-63. And in men's action, Westminster was up 7 at halftime, 35-28. Good close to the half. The Griffins and Eagles tied at 26. Westminster outscored them 9-2 to end the first half. Then they scored the next 8 points as they open up the second half. So a 17-2 run for the Griffins against the Eagles. End of the first half to the early stages of the second half. At that point, they were up 43-28, and they have been in command ever since. Now in front by 13 at 59-46, but you sense maybe a little bit of a push here, Lance, from Chadron State. They've scored 3 of the last 4 buckets in this one.
Yeah, I think they have the momentum right now. They just caused a turnover. The Griffins not aware of the shot clock, and they have a shot clock violation turnover.
Long 3, that one down. DeAndre Roberson.
You almost expected that one to fall, Mike, with the momentum that they have coming off of a big causing a turnover. That's a big 3 for the Eagles.
And Roberson was 0 for 5 from beyond the arc before that one went down. 10-point game all of a sudden. Outside Kitzman. Missed everything, out of bounds to Chadron State.
Coach Parrish wanted Blackner to shoot that. He had him up in the air. Had a nice little one baby dribble for an old college 3, the high school 3 line, and he's a good shooter, so he wanted him to shoot that. Stay aggressive. That's what you want the Griffins to see right now. They've kind of relinquished the gas pedal a little bit. Chadron taking this momentum and working with it, bringing it to a 10-point margin.
Boy, nice spin move right side, but Roberson unable to get to the rim. Kitzman up ahead. Goes to Banks, back to Kitzman. Under 6 minutes left. Griffins in front by 10.
Neither team in any kind of foul trouble, so you can be a little bit aggressive here. If you're Chadron, to try and go for some steals like that. Looking for a steal, no harm done.
The Griffins about 2.5 minutes without a field goal. And that has allowed Chadron State to climb their way back in this game. In fact, a few moments ago it was 57-39.
Yeah, nice little run for Chadron. Roberson out of the game. He's definitely a little winded getting his first game action for this team so far this year. So been a good addition for him in this game.
Nice move inside and the finish. Braden Johnson out of Corner Canyon High School in the Draper area. Went to Snow Community College. A full-on reload for the most part by Norm Parrish and his staff coming into this season.
It's crazy as I officiated Braden.
Strong drive in there by Kitzman.
Sorry, yeah, good way to get outside the circle and take the charge. Good job there. But I officiated Braden Johnson in an all-star game right out of high school, right when Corner Canyon had just kind of started. They hosted it there. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I didn't pay attention to Braden that much. I was still kind of in the coaching world. And he's worked himself in to be a very good player. He just does the fundamentals very well. So it was a good pickup for Norm and the Griffins roster.
So that charging foul by Kitzman gives it back to Chadron State, 61-49. They scored down low to get back to within 10.
Nice strong move by Parham. He was determined to get to the bucket, and he still got the finish. Might even got a hit on the shooting arm late. Nonetheless, finishes it, brings it back to 10.
Jumper from the right side, that one pure by Johnson. It's made the last 2 buckets for the Griffins. And Johnson now with 15 points, Lance.
Starting his first game of the year, taking full advantage of that start and the minutes that he's getting. He gets called for the hold there in the post, tried to come over the top. Point of emphasis, by the way, this year. That swinging through motion that defenders try to make to get on the high side. If you hold and use the hip or arm to advantage to get over there, it's got to be a foul. So good job by the official getting that one.
I like that point of emphasis.
shouldn't be able to use your arms as an advantage and swing the other player's body to get them out of their placement and you in yours. So that's kind of the mindset behind it. But
shot clock down to 6 here. Boy, great job to come in from the side by Banks. It will be Eagles basketball out of bounds, but just 3 to shoot.
Under 4 media.
So 3:55 left. Chadron State coming all the way from Nebraska, refusing to just go away quietly on this Saturday. They are within 10, made that 12, 63-51. Back after this on Griffins TV and the RMAC Network. Westminster on top of Chadron State. Mike Lagashow, Lance Barton back at Beacon Fieldhouse. No fans here with us tonight. Hope you're all enjoying this one on the live stream. Griffins led by 7 at halftime. They opened up an 18-point lead at 57-39, but ever since then, Chadron State a little push. Long 3 won't go here. Late shot clock, and Kitzman a good job on the box out. Good defensive sequence by the Griffins. Top scorers in this one. Johnson with 17 points for the Griffins as he makes his first start here tonight. 14 points from Andrews. 9 from Torbert. Banks with 8 points. 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And for Chadron State, 2 players and make that 3 players in double figures. Parham and Jefferson with 16 apiece. Roberson with 11 in his first game for the Eagles. Griffins try to extend a 12-point lead with 3:34 left to play.
Griffins using all of the shot clock here as much as they can.
That one just spins out for Braden Johnson.
That's a good shot. You'll take that with 8 on the shot clock. He had hit 3 of those already in this half. So a good use of the shot clock there for the Griffins and got a good look.
That one reeled in. Good job there on the near side by Roberson. Shot clock down to 9. That one sails a bit high, and that one unable to be reeled in by Parham. Costly turnover there for Chadron State, their 8th tonight. And Westminster with the basketball with a 12-point lead with 3:02 to play.
Yeah, those are the ones you can't have late second. There's a turnover by the Griffins and a foul by Kitzman.
That one was even worse. On the inbounds play, can't connect with Kitzman. Kitzman with the foul.
Back-to-back turnovers by both of these teams. Not letting the coaches relax at all. They're keeping them on their toes.
So Roberson at the free throw line. Makes the first. And gets the roll on the second. So Roberson tonight, 12 points. 5 rebounds in his Eagles debut. Good pressure on Andrews, and they force the travel. He tried to pivot as he crossed half court, ran into some traffic, and turns it over. So an errant inbounds pass, and then the travel. The last 2 times the Griffins have had the basketball.
Yeah, you don't want to see, especially when there's a lot of pressure, you don't want to see your ball handlers pick the ball up anywhere near within a foot of the half court if you can avoid it.
Long three. Rebound taken by Andrews on the miss by Parham.
That was a good defensive hand right there by Isaiah Banks. Used his length. He may even got a piece of that on that three-point shot.
That was an ugly miss. You might be right. It may have been partially blocked.
Oh.
Banks trying to turn the corner. Offensive foul. Tell you what, Lance, it would have been easy for Chadron State to pack it in. They were down by 18 points, and they decided, which way are we going here? They decided to stay in the game, and they made a nice push here, down 10, still fighting with 2:17 left.
100%. They're not going away. There's still a lot of time. You know, they shoot the three, so the three ball is the differentiator, right? That's what's going to be able to get them back in the game, and then if they can keep causing turnovers, they got a chance. This is a big possession for Chadron.
Jefferson back outside. From the corner, Marcus Jefferson from Jacob Jefferson. Speaking of the three ball, another one down for Chadron State. They're now 4 for 12 from long range in this second half, and they have cut the Griffins' lead down to 7 points. With 1:52 left, timeout will keep it here.
Well, we saw a little bit of this in the home opening weekend for the Griffins, where they had a double-digit lead over MSU Denver, and that one came all the way back to within a 1-point game, and actually MSU Denver had a final second shot to potentially win it. Same thing with Colorado Christian. It was a 16, 17-point lead, ended up an 8-point game. So we talked about it. The Griffins need to be able to close out games when they have double-digit leads. Right now they're a little bit flustered, so see what they drew up during that timeout. Get the ball in bounds, be strong with it, finish this game out.
The Eagles won the first matchup in this series on December 11th, 66-60 on their home court in Nebraska. Almost right away there from Kitzman. And now a timeout call by the Griffins. So a timeout call, we'll keep it here. With 1:39 left, let's paint the canvas for you. If we have a jump ball, the arrow will give it to the Griffins. Westminster with 2 timeouts left, 1 left for Chadron State. Griffins are on top by 7. Both teams in the bonus. A tight one shaping up here in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, you look at the numbers right now. Chadron identical as of right this second. 11 of 27 first half. They're 11 of 27 in the second half as it sits. Obviously that'll change a little bit. 40, just over 40%. The Griffins just a hair under 50%. So not terrible shooting, but the game has been a little bit out of sync the last 3 minutes. We've had some turnovers, some charges. So Chadron doing anything they can to disrupt the Griffins, and it's working.
The Griffins another long drought to the last field goal at the 4:24 mark. Turnaround jumper, traveling violation before Banks got it away.
So 3 turnovers in 4 possessions for the Griffins. This is not the way you want your team to finish if you are a Westminster basketball fan.
Again, they led 57-39. They were up by 19 at 52-33 at one point at the 12:43 mark of the second half. 1:12 left here. 3 ball is down. Marcus Jefferson from Louisville, Texas. Spent some time at MSU Denver, then went to Lawson State Community College. Nails a big 3 right there. 63-59, under a minute left.
Kid's been choosing just to dribble out. Under 10 on the shot clock.
They wind it down to 6. Goes away from the screen, spin move at the lane. Kitzman a finish. And the Juan Diego product via Hobart College with a big make, 65-59.
The steal there. Good job by Kitzman playing defense on the drive.
Boy, a
Banks
couple big
anticipating,
plays.
yeah, good job by both of those defenders.
A near steal from behind. As Madeker went for the steal.
Next foul by Chadron will put Westminster in the bonus. 16 fouls there.
Yeah, I misspoke a moment ago. I'm used to the women's game when we did.
Yeah.
When 5 gets you there in a quarter. So, yes, they were still a couple away. And a quick foul as they come into Isaiah Banks. So that will be the 7th team foul on Chadron State. That one goes against DeAndre Roberson. First on him tonight. So Banks at the line. 60% at the stripe this season. Averaging almost 12 points and 5 rebounds a game coming into tonight.
Still just a 2-possession game.
That one a miss on the drive in by Marcus Jefferson. Closing out a game can be one of the hardest things. All that effort, Lance, to get there and be in position. You think you're home, but the final 5 minutes or so can be tough. Making free throws, taking care of the ball, and sometimes those can be hard lessons to learn.
You know, what's interesting about it is sometimes the complacency comes from just the basic inbounds, getting it in after a make, right? And so sometimes you're too lax with that ball getting it in. And that translates in, okay, what's going to be the first dribble? What am I going to do after I do get the ball in? So we saw that as they had 3 of 4 possessions have turnovers. So a couple of subs with Remy and Miller into the game. Trying to get some more ball handling on the floor.
So 65-60. It is not a 2-possession lead for the Griffins with 7.5 seconds left. Into Kitzman, and a quick foul. So Kitzman coming into tonight just 67% at the line, 6 for 9. He's 2 for 2 so far tonight with 7 points. That foul goes against Cepeda, his 3rd, 8th team foul against the Eagles. And Kitzman back at the line one more time.
Banks back in for some defense and rebounding, get a little more length on the floor.
Another front end miss. 5-point game. 3-point try won't go by Marcus Jefferson. And a valiant comeback by Chadron State on the road comes up short. They were down by 18, 57-39. A great comeback, but they lose this one by 5, 65-60. And another nice win at home here as it ends up for Westminster.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this, that first home weekend. You love conference wins, and you'll take them however you get. But you're shaking your head a little bit as the coaching staff, and hopefully as players, by the inability to close out. You have the 11-13 mark, it's 54-37. Then it bumps up, like you mentioned a couple times, to 57-39 at just under 10 minutes, or just over 10 minutes rather. And then all of a sudden you're under the media timeout, it's only 11. And then you go to under 2 minutes of timeout, it's only a 6-point game. You have turnovers, you have some missed free throws, so the Griffins need to make sure they sharpen up mentally and they're able to close out games, because one of these times it's going to come back to bite them, and the team's going to come back if you can't be mentally sharp, if you can't, put the seal on that game.
Well, as it turns out, the Griffins get their 4th win, 2 losses on the season. They're 3-0 here at home, and as we talked about in the women's game, you have to get 11 conference games in for the Griffins to be 6 in now, and they have 4 wins. Again, he would rather win this game comfortably going away, but you get the W, and you have 4 wins now before you head out on the road next week.
Yeah, it's almost it's amplified so much by COVID and everything that's going on. Every win feels like almost like 1.2 wins, right? And I've heard that a little bit from some analysts in different forums and different leagues, but 85% of the game, the Griffins played really, really well. The problem is that other 15% was in the final 6 minutes. You know what I mean? And so, not trying to harp on the negative. So, when the Griffins complete the game together and they get healthy, they are doing some things. And I think they've got a great chance. If you're Chadron, you put in another great effort, a little, too little, too late, whatever cliche you want to use. I felt like they really kind of just started settling. And they started settling, and they didn't really attack the offensive glass. But then they had that stretch. It started with an offensive rebound. It started then with an and one. They get that turnover. They get a charge call. Those things build the momentum over the whole team, and we joked on one of them where Parham hit that three, and we said we expected that to go in because they'd just taken a charge down here. You have all the momentum, shot goes. So they need to be able to also put together a full game, and they can surprise some teams. So competitive, it's a win, but still some things to work on by both sides.
So final numbers for both teams. The Griffins outshoot Chadron State 50 to 41%. The Griffins shoot 52%, going 13 for 25 in the second half. Westminster 7 of 18 from three-point range tonight. Chadron State shoots 41.8% for the game. They shoot a little bit better than that in the second half, going 12 for 28 for 42.9%. They end up shooting 9 for 23 make that 9 for 32 from three-point range, but lots of threes again, Lance. They went just 4 for 19 in the first half. A little bit better second half, but again, 32 of your 55 field goal tries from three-point range, and to make this 28%, that's just not good enough in that three-point effort for Chadron State.
Yeah, we talked about that. Almost 100 going in. Now they're going to cap over 25 or hit over 25 a game on average. So, need to adjust maybe a little bit. The run that we saw, they went inside out. They scored 3 buckets in a row interior-wise during that run. 42 points and 44, then 46, boom. Then they hit a 3. Then they go back to get an and one. So we've kind of the theme of the night for me has been this inside-out play. Maybe it's because I'm so tired of everybody shooting threes. Maybe it's the NBA, everything. Obviously, threes are threes, and they're always going to be threes now. But teams that go inside out and have an inside presence, like I said several times, off the bounce, off the pass, off their offensive sets, you got to have the ball near the hoop to make teams respect you to get inside that three. Then you can start shooting. But I think this Westminster team is seeing guys, and Coach Parrish is seeing guys step up. I thought Braden Johnson was a huge, huge portion of this game. Obviously, you'll go through individual numbers, but I thought his energy was good. He had a couple hustle plays, flying in, getting a couple offensive rebounds. So I thought he was a key factor for this Griffins win.
Yeah, the Griffins, some quick team numbers before we go to individuals. They out-rebound Chadron State 33-27. Now the positive, Lance, 18 assists on 26 buckets tonight for Westminster.
Yeah, very, very solid. I really liked when they went to that triangle offense. I liked that they were methodical. I liked that they were patient. You had a couple inside moves by Isaiah Banks. You had a couple elbow jumpers by Braden Johnson. You had a couple times where then they went to that quick on-ball screen out of the triangle, and then they got a give and go a couple times where Isaiah then dumped it off to Braden. So I like that mix that Norm's doing, and we've talked about it in the other home games where they go to that triangle and it just totally mixes up the offense and focuses all the attention in the lane. So great ball movement by the Griffins, and honestly, they missed a couple of open ones, so they could have had even more assists, but that's a great ratio right there.
All right, individual numbers, as Lance mentioned, Braden Johnson, his first career start as a Griffin, had 17 points to lead Westminster tonight. Also 6 rebounds for him. And Joey Andrews, another solid night, 14 points, knocking down 2 of 3 threes. 6 rebounds, 4 assists. The Griffins playing without their fourth best scorer, Jared Jordan, tonight. So some other guys had to pick up the slack, and Johnson was up to the assignment tonight for Westminster.
I liked his interior play. He was patient, a couple back down jump hooks, and then he says, okay, now I'm going to step out and hit the 15-footer. So Braden, a solid player, played good defense. And like I said, he had some hustle plays that really made a difference as well, a couple saves, an offensive rebound. And you can't discredit the rotation and guys coming in. You had a couple of stretches where you had 4 subs on the game.
Right.
And they were able to actually extend the lead with those 4 subs. You don't have that extension. Now this game is totally different. That comeback now becomes maybe losing the lead. So good job by a couple of the bench players to come in and perform and do their job.
Yeah, 8 guys playing 10 minutes or more tonight for Westminster without Jared Jordan, who was out tonight with an injury. A couple other individual numbers for the Griffins. Remy Torberts with 9 points tonight, 8 for Banks, and for Chadron State, 3 players in double figures for them. Teddy Parham Jr. with 16 points, also 16 for Jacob Jefferson. Jefferson going 2 of 4 from 3. Parham 4 for 10 from long range tonight, and also in double figures in his first game with Chadron State. DeAndre Roberson, 13 points, 5 rebounds for him.
He's a great addition. I mean, for the first game, first live action, you're not playing your teammates. He's going to be a problem because he can do it inside and out. I really like the way he pressured the ball towards the end, and even at times where he really picked up full court, really disruptive. He's super athletic. I mean, we saw his very first play was a steal dunk, right? So a way to set the stage for yourself. So he's a good addition. I think this team's going to clip off a few. I think they're going to upset a few teams in the RMAC because when they start figuring it out and they don't settle for threes, they can still shoot threes as long as they're good. And we heard Coach talk about it in that second half, Coach Pabin, that we need to give up okay and good shots for great shots. When they did that, they made that run. And then they were able to use their defense to get turnovers. So they're a solid squad. They're a little bit smaller. They're going to rely on the guard play, but overall I think that they're going to surprise a few teams during this long conference season.
Also for Chadron State tonight, Marcus Jefferson with 9 points and 4 points for Medeker to round out the scoring for them tonight. So the Griffins get the win here by 5, 65-60. They improved to 4-2 in the season. Chadron State falls to 2-3. The Griffins on the road next week. They're at Colorado Christian on Friday, at MSU Denver on Saturday, and they'll be with the women, so you can watch all those games on the RMAC Network. We're back here for 2 more home games, January 22nd and 23rd against Regis and Colorado Mines, before the Griffin men headed back out for 4 straight games on the road. And again, that magic number, have to get 11 games in somewhere, and the Griffins again, 4 wins and 2 losses, all in all another home win and another W here at Banking for the Griffin men tonight.
Yeah, I think moving forward, my keys for this Griffin squad would be, besides just saying health, I think it would be game health, meaning you have to take the game situation and you break it down by a couple minutes. Some coaches break it down by the 4-minute stretches in between media timeouts, and the Griffins got an A or an A- in the first couple. Then they really, really got an A in that that last part of the first half. But that final 4 minutes of the second half, I would say they're at a C- D+.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, a grading wizard, and you don't like that feeling going away. So they got to have that killer mentality. They got to be able to have guys take care of the ball. We saw Kitzman finally kind of settle in, waited for the shot clock. He really went deliberate, had that nice spin move off of the ball screen. He actually went away from the ball screen of Braden Johnson, spin move with the finish. So those kind of plays, you need to start doing that if you're going to slow the tempo down the last couple minutes. You need to do that at 1:50 mark, not at 37 seconds when you've just given up, your lead and it's within striking distance. So for them, they got to have a little bit more mental toughness, a little bit more of that killer instinct, and they're still winning.
Yep.
They're 4-2, and they're going to grab this and hopefully use the momentum for next weekend's road trip.
All right, so once again, the Griffins win this one by 5, 65-60. Their top scorers tonight, Braden Johnson in his first start with 17 points, and Joey Andrews with 14. The Griffins on the road next weekend. We're back here on January 22nd for Regis, and then Colorado Mines the next night. For Lance Barton, I'm Mike Lagerschultz. Post-game coverage coming up on Griffins TV over on YouTube as Westminster improves to 4-2. They win this one over Chadron State 65-60. For Lance Barton, I'm Mike Lagerschultz. Until next time, so long, everybody.